This is a contract March 1st, how do you even do that?
Well, then they'll just look play dumb like they don't understand. Yeah, and basically they'll take us a couple of weeks.
How can you even implement something into it? It's impossible.
It's impossible. So
So what are you talking about, April, May?
if they announce it March 1st, I think we can be utilizing grant funds and operating live in March.
Literally?
Yeah, just because if Casey switches over, that's an okay. If she does, I can do it for a few weeks to get this. The main thing is whatever kind of like grant contracts. Last time they did it, I did everything they wanted, and then I have to be in the classroom. Teams all around the world. Is there one where there's an extra contract that gets signed off on? So there's one of the top ways.
Oh, is this what you made up?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Sometimes I can approach.
Good deal. We're right on time. The timeline's perfect.
I was thinking, I can't imagine there's a grant. All we had to do is charge things.
Okay, so we call to order the Community Development Block Grant Program Federal Fiscal Year 2020 and 2021 modification hearing. The purpose of this meeting is to hear citizens' views and comments. The meeting is live streamed. If there are any comments received in the live stream, we'll try to address those tonight. Comments can be submitted via mail, email, phone call, fax. Anybody use fax anymore? Today's meeting is to review the modifications for the city's CDBG program. The Community Development Block Grant Program, CDBG, supports the community development activities for a few different activities: sewage infrastructure, community development projects, educational, there's several different uses, recreation. We just have to be sure that when we're using that funding that it is eligible under the CDBG program. And part of the requirements of the federal program is we have meetings like this and we talk about, sometimes people probably think I just like to hear myself talk, but these are things that I need to share with everyone. The projects must benefit low to moderate income persons and removal of slum and blight or prevent slum and blight, and urgent need. We don't have a lot of urgent need where we're located. Urgent need would be more weather circumstances, things like that. So in the projects that we've presented in the previous years, today's hearing is to modify those projects where we can either add activities, delete activities, and change the funding in some activities. Today is a modification and revisions are done separately. Revisions are only used if you're not adding or deleting an activity, you're just adjusting the funding that's available for each one of the projects. So advertised as we are required by the federal regulations of the program, and the meeting tonight will discuss what changes we're making for each contract year. So on the agenda that I've shared, and it also was in the newspaper advertisement and pushed out on Facebook, I've outlined the 2020 activities, and then in the second column is the action of what we're proposing to do. The third column is our current budget, and the last column is what our budget will be after we submit this modification request to the state. So I will need to read through this. The 2020 street reconstruction activity, which was originally applied for in fiscal year 2020, we're proposing to delete that activity. That activity while it is an eligible activity, the planning and the necessary steps weren't taken in time, and the funding can be used for other projects that are more substantial. So it's not that we wouldn't consider street reconstruction in the program, it's just that it wasn't an active shovel-ready project. So we're going to delete that activity to give us more time with our engineer, more planning time, more review of streets. 2020 code enforcement will remain the same. We have $32,019. Code enforcement, while it's remaining the same, is on hold right now until we're able to get approval to use those funds. That can be used for training for code enforcement officers, for creation of code enforcement plans, and costs related to enforcing code. The 2020 Uniontown EMA gas detector, that remained the same. That's because it's already been completed. That was completed after the contract was awarded in 2021. We are proposing to increase the budget for 2020 demolition. You'll notice that it goes to $78,396. Just not a number we necessarily pulled from the air. That's the most funding that we can use out of a contract. So our CDBG contracts are capped at 30%. So 70% of those funds have to address low to moderate income persons. That allows us 30% of the funds to demolish, rehab, blighted areas, slum and blight. And so that's what we chose to do, is to increase that because we most certainly need it. Bailey Park improvements is an activity that's already been done. The budget remains the same. Lemon Street Recreation, that also is remaining the same for the improvements on Lemon Street, which is well underway. We have a second phase to be bid at Lemon Street, where we will have a pavilion and signage, and then we'll look at second phases because there's 2 buildings there that also need to be demolished. And then we're adding Grant Street ADA improvements for $44,664.15. The ADA improvements are the restrooms that are at Grant Street Park right now. This would make them ADA accessible, and it also make the sidewalk and pathway all accessible to be able to get to those bathrooms. That's the 2020 changes. The 2021 changes, originally the contract was submitted for 180-degree empowerment, which the scope of work for that was to replace a roof on a building. Time passed, that was funded with other funds, and the project changed. So working with the applicant, we've worked a way out to kind of adjust the activity to still benefit that applicant, but it's no longer for the brick and mortar. So that is on as One Voice, One Community tutoring program. So you'll notice that they're not receiving the same amount of funds as the deleted activity. That's because this specific activity is also capped. We are only able to use 15% of our funding on direct benefit activities. So we had to reduce the amount, but we were still able to keep a reasonable amount for that tutoring project. We are deleting street reconstruction off of 2021 as well. Again, this gives us more time to do planning. There's not been mapping or areas identified of need. There's a lot of work to do, and this funding is expiring and needs to be used pretty much right away. Uniontown EMA rescue tool, that's being deleted. The fire department has actually pursued other grants and was able to get I think 4 rescue tools through another grant source, so we've adjusted those funds too. Code enforcement, again, remains the same until we have approval to use that funds. We're adding state theater external rehabilitation, which would again be capped because this is a blight project, so it's capped at 30%. This is going to handle the outside of the building and the cornices. And we also will add Grant Street Park Pavilion to 21. This is not only for ADA accessibility, it'll be a separate project for a pavilion and some walkways. And then last, the Calvary Playground. Calvary Playground submitted the application in 2023. That project was submitted in 2023, and while they did get while they are the applicant of those funds, they would need additional funds for that project. This project is very well organized, and I think is going to be a great addition to the substantial projects that the state has asked us to submit. So we have all the folks that are the applicants. They all attended today, and I will defer to those folks. The East End Community Center is here, and you see that East End isn't here, but it's an excellent partnership between Calvary United Methodist Church and East End Community Center. They're able to partner and themselves operate and maintain the playground. So while the city's funding that playground, the city will not be responsible for maintaining the playground, ensuring the playground. That partnership is going to allow them to work together to ensure the East End will ensure the playground and maintain it, while Calvary United can provide them space for the services that East End provides. So the playground would be on the Clark Avenue, right across from Calvary United.
On the corner of Clark and Collins. There's an empty, if you go up, it's between Cool Spring Street and Connellsville Street, behind the church. There used to be an apartment building back there years ago.
So that's everything that I have to read out about these modifications. So what I thought I'd do, if you just want to introduce yourself and just share a little bit about your activity, and then, we can take questions as we go, or we'll run through, or however. So, Erica?
My name is Erica Miller. I'm the Executive Director of the State Theater Center for the Arts. The Union Trust building on the corner of Gallatin and Main Streets was gifted to the State Theater many, many, many years ago. And it was not in good shape when it was given to us, but recently we've been having issues every time there's a great windstorm with pieces of the old cornice falling from the building. And it is a safety hazard that we need to address. There's also an old elevator shaft up on that building. The elevator is, of course, not one that works. But pieces of the old siding that was used on that, which was metal, have fallen over these last, especially that windstorm just a few weeks ago. And it's an imminent need that we have to make sure that people are safe downtown when they're walking on those sidewalks by the on Gallatin Avenue, on Main Street, by the Union Trust building, and just to seal up that building. The building was originally built in the 1800s as the Gallatin Hotel. It's older than the State Theater building. It served many purposes over the years, and we need to get this project done mostly for the safety of the of those in the city and people driving by. But also we need to start addressing that building because it could really be an asset to our community if we can start to use the upper floors of that building.
And that activity she described is funded through the 2021 activity, the 2021 CDBG contract, one of the ones that we're adding. Carrie?
My name is Terry Vassar. I'm the president of One Voice, One Community and founder. Originally, I had requested this money for 180 Degrees Empowerment Center, which we had acquired the old YMCA. After getting in there and actually starting the reconstruction and different things, the overhead was quite cumbersome, so we pivoted, and now we are at 111 West Fayette Street in Uniontown, where we have an after-school program, and we have kids between the ages of 6th and 9th grade, and the actual monies would help fund to help with the tutoring and the educating of the kids.
And that one is the deletion on 2021 and the addition on 2021.
Hello, everyone. My name is Steve Strange. I'm the Executive Director at East End United Community Center. I'm here tonight on behalf of what is turning into a partnership with Calvary United Methodist Church. When Calvary received this grant, their representatives reached out to me, and to me, it's the definition of a win-win. Calvary's got this huge church just right down the road from our center, and they want more people to be in the church. They want to be a bigger part of the community. We kind of have the reverse issue, where we have a ton of children and people in and out of our building every day, and we need more space. So the agreement that we're in the process of solidifying is that we will oversee the maintenance of the playground, and in turn Calvary will provide space within their church for us to move our daycare there. And just a little bit of extra context, we're in the process of moving our daycare from a star 2 to a star 4 rating. We'll hopefully get that approval in the next few weeks. They advised us, that the people that oversee that advised us not to move while that was going on. So as soon as that gets done on our end, hopefully in the next week or two, we'll be able to move forward with this. And I think both sides are eager and ambitious to have this solidified by the spring.
I just want to stress again that with the park being funded through the CDBG program, the city nor the redevelopment authority would have any requirement to maintain the premises. That partnership all would be ironed out through agreements which are underway right now. All environmental review process would be handled through the grant. And like Steve said, it's a win-win. It is a substantial project, and the state has kind of requested that all grantees use their funding for more substantial projects, and that is definitely a substantial project and a lot of impact in the neighborhood that we're supposed to focus in. That's where CDBG wants us to use our funding in that neighborhood. You want to add for the church?
Hi, I'm Bob Corbett. I am with Calvary United Methodist Church. We started this project 7 years ago, I think. It got waylaid and didn't get off the ground until a couple months ago, well, several months ago. But since then, we've had a lot of input from East End, and it's a win-win situation, like Steve mentioned. As most of you know, most churches are decreasing in membership and attendance, and we are sitting there with this huge building, and it's a shame that it's not being used for the community. And it was originally built by the people of that community, 130, 150 years ago. Since then, as most of you know, things have changed. Demographics have changed. People from the community do not go to that church, and we're hoping that with the addition of the preschool from East End Community Center, that Lord's purpose will be served by getting more people in church and serving a service to the community, which will probably be beneficial. So when I started this project, I talked to McMillan Engineering, and they agreed to do the upfront work on that's the term. They work on charges for it, and they didn't, and they haven't. But since then, we've got some CDBG money, and we're getting ready to start a fundraiser, I think, not a fundraiser by itself, but request for grants from different people, including hopefully some big companies in Pittsburgh who always run their mouths on TV about how much they help the community. We will see that they help Uniontown. And I think it's a very worthwhile project. We're proposing to have a basketball court or two, a playground for kids. Hopefully have something set up for kids of all ages from 2, that's my opinion, from 2 to 60. But anyhow, and we would also like to build a pavilion on that lot. We have 4 lots there, and we're proposing to develop the property into a community park for the East End project. And I think they need it very badly, and I think that they will benefit from it. And we're proposing to have, like I said, a pavilion. And I've seen all these parks, and I haven't seen a whole lot of restrooms anywhere. We're hoping to have a restroom there so that little kids, they don't always have the fortitude to do what adults can do, but we're hoping to be a benefit to the entire East End Community Center, or community area. So if there's any questions, why, I'll be more than happy to answer them if I can.
I just thought I'd add, when this application process opened in May, there's an annual meeting held where those out in the community can come in and request funding. And Calvary did just that. They attended our meeting in May. This was a little later because I started in March. So, but they, regardless, they came to the meeting with a prepared package, preliminary estimates, conceptual plans, everything outlined. It was a completely shovel-ready project, and in the condition of the city's CDBG funds expiring, it was a great project that we could work with. It had momentum and partnerships, just checked all the boxes. So that was really a savior to the program, because they have a timeline that fits our funding timeline, and it all just fits really nicely. These funds that we're modifying right now, 2020 funds, was awarded in January of 2020, and those funds have not been used. Some of them's been used, and sometimes projects do take 2 years to process, but some of them, like that require heavy planning, because of the situation with staffing, the program really couldn't take off like it has this year. And we've hit the ground running, and now we're approved an extension through April for the 2020 funds, and at this time we've not requested any extensions on 2021 because the projects we're proposing meets the timeline that they're asking. But like you said, at this time, if there are any comments from anybody on live or anybody here, you have 3 minutes, and you can come up to the podium, state your name and address, and just make sure to talk into the mic.
I would like to add one thing before I give up my podium here. I'd like to publicly thank McMillan Engineering for all the work that they've done with respect to putting the plans together. And from what I understand, Brewer came back that it was probably one of the best plans that somebody ever saw. I don't know if it was the state or whoever, but it was a nice set of plans. So thank you, McMillan Engineering.
Matt George, the chairman, has been administering the program through the authority, and that was his words. It was perfect, just all was perfect. It's full on there. There's nobody there. If there's no public comment, any other comments for the folks with the projects? Anything to add? Okay, well then we can adjourn this meeting at 6:23. We will adjourn the CDBG meeting. Thanks for everybody's time. You're welcome. You never really know what to expect with meetings like this. You either get a lot of things or you don't.